Hi, welcome to today's devotional, Psalm 34. Now it begins with a little kind of introduction. It says, a Psalm of David, as many of the Psalms were. When he pretended to be insane before Abimelech, who drove him away, and he left. So an odd way to start the Psalm, isn't it? When David pretended to be insane. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's just read the first couple of verses. I will extol the Lord at all times. His praise will always be on my lips. My soul will boast in the Lord. Let the afflicted hear and rejoice. Glorify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. And many of the translations, verse 3, where it says glorify the Lord in the NIV, many of the translations have magnify the Lord. Magnify the Lord. It reminded me, that word magnify is such a powerful word. It appears many, many times in the Bible. Magnify the Lord. And how, we use a magnifying glass, if you use a magnifying glass, to make an object look bigger. What is, the thing is that the object isn't actually any bigger. You don't actually make the object bigger by put a magnifying glass to it. It just appears to be bigger. It's a matter of perception, not a matter of fact. And I'm just thinking a simple thought really today is to magnify God. If you magnify God, it doesn't make him any bigger if you, than he already is. He already is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And the fact that you may not feel that or sense that or experience that doesn't change the fact that he is that. But our perception of him can be different. We can magnify him, choose to magnify him, and not magnify the enemy. I'm reminded in Mark chapter 5, I believe it is, the story of what's called the Gadarene demoniac, or Gerasene demoniac, how Jesus gets in a boat, goes to the side of Lake Galilee, and he gets out the boat, and immediately he's met by this madman and this maniac, who is kind of wild and out of control. And we find out that he kind of lives in the tombs and in the dark places, and the people of the town that Jesus is visiting can't control him. And when Jesus says, what is your name? The man says to him, my name is Legion. And Legion, the Roman Legion, I think was 6,000 soldiers. And in other words, the man was saying, and was the devil, the kind of demons speaking through the man. We're legion, we're many, we're 6,000 or however many thousand, we're numerous, and we're definitely bigger than you, Jesus. And it's this attempt to intimidate and to remind ourselves that that's the enemy's plan, isn't it? To intimidate us and to magnify himself, to make himself seem bigger than he actually is. We know he roars like prowls around like a roaring lion, or roars around like a prowling lion, for that matter. But he is an intimidator. He's a bully. And going back to the story that this relates to, the psalm is found in 1 Samuel 21, and we read about David, how he is fleeing from Saul because Saul's pursuing him for his life, and then he goes to the king of Gath, Achish. And the servants of Achish say to Achish, if that's the way you pronounce it, isn't this David, the king of the land? Isn't he the one they sing about in their dances? Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. And it says David took these words to heart and became very, very much afraid of Achish. And I'm reading that and thinking, why would David be afraid? Achish has, is bigging him up and complimenting him. And the reason why David's afraid is because he recognises David. And that's the point, is that the king recognises David. And of course, would have been an enemy of the Philistines. So David is very afraid and actually pretends then to be insane. He says in verse 13, he feigned insanity in their presence. And he pretended to be a madman, and he suddenly behaved out of character, he lost his sense of identity. When we magnify the enemy, when we magnify our problems, our fears, that can cause us to lose our sense of who we are. But when we magnify the Lord, when we magnify him and we reflect on him and we take that time to be still before him, then, that gives us that sense of perspective, that right perspective of who we are. And, when Jesus confronted this Gadarene demoniac, and the Gadarene demoniac was saying, listen, mate, effectively, we can bully you, we can beat you up, no problem. Jesus just simply then spoke a word and says, come out, you evil spirit. And we know the end of the story was that the man was wonderfully healed. So my encouragement to you today is to magnify the Lord and not the enemy. Bless you. Have a fantastic day in Jesus' name.